right, good morning everybody. I just finished putting Mikuni carb that I rebuilt back in the 300 King quad. We're gonna go outside, we're gonna roll some lawn, but anyway, I was just gonna say, these Chinese carbs are shit. At least I found in my 94 King quad out there, these $62 Chinese carbs for the 300 King quad, they're shit. The jetting's way out of whack. The jetting may be fine for this carburetor and maybe for a different year King quad, whatever, but I checked all the jet sizes. They're all way over, and I had this on the machine and I could not get that machine to run, and I tried a lot of different things, and I could not get this machine to run. It would idle, then it wouldn't idle, then it would die, then it would rev up, then you had to run it with the choke on. It was just a complete nightmare. So $62 carb, I believe, on Amazon for the 300 King quad. At least for my 94 King quad, this was an epic fail. So I went back to the Mikuni, ordered a rebuild kit for the Mikuni, which was Chinese parts anyway, and I put them back in the Mikuni carb. I just finished last night, and I'm out there rolling the lawn now because I want to get some stuff done. So, and I need that four-wheeler. So this didn't work, but not all is lost, because you can use parts off this Chinese carb because dimensionally the casting is very similar on the front, the diaphragm, everything. And your slide inside is the same, and just a whole bunch of things are still usable on this. And your gasket for your float bowl, different things are still usable. So it's not a complete loss, but you know what? It did not work. It didn't work at all. And so it would barely run with that Chinese carb. So I go, okay, I ordered a rebuild kit for the original Mikuni, and I thought I'd take an easy way out and just do a carb swap and try it. No, it was an epic fail. So anyway, but I got a whole shitload of spare parts that are pretty much useless. I got some extra screws in there, and a needle for the slide, a bunch of different things in here. So I do have some parts that I can use. So anyway, let's go outside. We got to get on that King quad. I want to do some lawn rolling, and I'll show you what I got set up. All right, so this roller on this machine, 600, I think it specs out about 660 pounds, but I don't have it 100% full. So it's probably between 575 and 600. And another thing I'll tell you, I don't put water, even though this has a plug in this. I put a National Pipe Tap plug in the bottom of this roller, and I tapped it out, and I put an NPT plug in there, and this roller is full of used engine oil, okay? And the reason it's full of used engine oil is it never freezes, it doesn't rust, you can leave it out all winter, you never got to drain it out, and I've had it in there for years. So just a little tip for you, if you want to leave something in your roller, put in used motor oil. It doesn't freeze, it can sit outside, it doesn't expand because it doesn't freeze, and you're golden, and away you go. And the only thing I did different was I took the marine boat plug out of that roller, and I put an NPT plug in there, and I tapped it, because I was afraid of the rubber of the expanded boat plug would eventually break down and the oil would start weeping out, which it probably will. The rubber would break from the oil. So that's the only thing I did. Teflon tape, NPT plug, and away we go. So we're going to do some rolling, but and too bad it's a little bit windy out here, you guys, but I'd rather have the wind than the piss and rain we've had for the last several days, and that made it virtually impossible to do anything outside. So I'm happy, the sun's shining, and we're gonna rock and roll here in the King quad. So got the Mikuni back on the thing, and it purrs like a kitten. I tore that carb right down, and I scrubbed it to death. I cleaned out every jet, and I actually replaced one jet in there from the Chinese kit that actually did fit. I replaced that, and just a bunch of different things, float bowl gaskets, and set the float bowl height. I just set it up nicely, and it runs like a champ. Now it runs and idles perfectly, and this job was way overdue. I've had this carburetor on the shelf for months now, and the machine's been sitting idle, unusable, and that just drives me crazy. Why have a nice piece of equipment if you can't sit there and run it? So away we go, and we're gonna get on her. And when I roll with this King quad, for you guys that don't know, I'm rolling in super low, right there. You've got super low, low, and high. So I'm running in super low range, second and third gear, two-wheel drive. And I mean in low range, super low range, sorry. This thing pulls like a dozer. This is a little pit bull in super low range. You know what? It's compact, it's strong, and it just gets her done. So, two-wheel drive, super low range. Alright, so as you guys can see, that King Quad and super low range two-wheel drive, it handles that roller, like I said, approaching 600 pounds, no problem whatsoever. And if you shift that thing in four-wheel drive and dropped it in the first gear, like it'll pull a house down. That's where these King Quads really shine for a utilitarian style machine. They're small, they're compact, and they got a lot of power, and they're great for around a hobby farm, great for around the yard. Fabulous little yard working machines. As you can see, I'm working on the second part of this back field here, and that turned out pretty good. I picked up most of the rocks that were pushed up through the frost and threw them in the bushes, but a lot of the rocks, unless they're sticking up, you know, and going to interfere with the lawnmower, I just roll right over top of them. And because you can't pick all the rocks here, you just wait for them to come to the surface, and then every year you rock pick a little bit, but it's coming out nice. Alright, so just a little update on that 300 King Quad report. Working like a champ with that mikuni carb in there, the original King Quad carb, rebuilt and installed, and now we're just getting at it this morning. It's actually pretty cold up here. Cold and windy, and at least the sun's shining. So we'll just work through this kind of weather. Better than pouring rain right now. I got stuff to do. Okay, you guys, thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you on the next job, because I've got a lot of jobs lined up. I've got a lot of work lined up, and we'll be doing a bunch of different jobs this year already. All right, thanks for tuning in.